Welcome to the Chronicles of a Cheating Wife channel. A new story every day. Don't forget to subscribe. My palm is clenched so tightly that my nails bite into my flesh. I taste iron when I press my lips together. It's that coppery tang of blood, subtle and metallic. For a few seconds, I don't even realize I'm hurting myself. I only notice when a tiny droplet runs across the seam of my hand. And yet I don't loosen my grip. Something in me wants to hold on to the pain. It makes me feel grounded, awake. Time has become an unwelcome guest in my head, a slow-winding clock that mocks me with every tick. Right here, in this moment, I see everything. The wine glass, the painting, her eyes, the hidden codes that used to mean nothing to me. Now they devour what's left of my trust. That's how I discovered it all, through a simple detail that turned my life inside out. I'm John. 42 years of living, half of it spent balancing illusions and truths. So many illusions, it seems. Maria, my wife, stands across the room, regarding me with a concerned tilt of her head. My heart used to flutter at that look. Now it just aches. Because the distance between us is no longer measured in footsteps. It's measured in secrets, betrayals, and the slow, relentless decay of something we once called love. I sense her coming closer, but I don't move. My hand stays tight, the nails pressing deeper. Earlier, we were supposed to have a casual evening. That was the idea. A glass of red wine, her new painting propped on the old easel in the living room. The entire house smelled of the lavender candle she's so fond of. She lit it a few hours ago, right after tidying up. This was a routine I once found comforting. Her fussing, her neatness, her gentle arrangement of small details. But tonight, routine has turned hostile. She said something about the color of the wine, how it matched the brushstrokes on her canvas. I mumbled a response I don't remember now. I only recall stepping closer to the painting, letting my eyes roam the swirl of shades. It was abstract, or so I thought. But behind the curved figures, I noticed faint lines, like hidden clues embedded beneath the paint. A date, an address, initials. The strokes were elaborate, layered, as if she'd spent hours forging them into something artistic. It felt like standing at the mouth of a crypt, about to descend. I still didn't fully grasp what it meant. My mind reeled. Maybe it was some sort of code, maybe something from her childhood, maybe something else entirely. I found an old photo album in the attic weeks ago. I never told her that. I was searching for a misplaced box of keepsakes from my brother. Instead, I discovered dusty albums we hadn't opened in years. Inside, I saw images of Maria. In those pictures, she wore a dress I recognized. The same dress from her painting. The same tilt of her shoulders. That same half-smile. But she wasn't with me. Some other man's arm curled around her waist, proprietary, intimate. They stood at a pair of doors I didn't recognize, the background a nondescript building. The date scrawled in pen beneath one snapshot matched the small numbers she'd painted in the corner of her canvas. Suddenly, it all clicked. I stand in the living room, remembering the day I found those photos. My breath is slow and shallow. My body almost paralyzed by a sense of betrayal I can't express. I ask myself when I grew so silent. When did I start swallowing words instead of letting them out? Was it when I stopped believing she'd hear them? Time does that to people. It takes something vibrant and slowly chips at it until the shape is unrecognizable. My eyes drift to the glass of wine sitting on the table. The red swirl is ominous under the lamplight. She said she picked this wine because it resembled a shade in the painting. Yes, that's how she explained it, as if the color on canvas and the color in the glass were intimately linked. It's a small detail, trivial perhaps, but it stings. Because I see it now for what it is, a tribute, an echo of something she shared with him, a memory she's coded into her art. I exhale, releasing the tension in my hand. The sting is real. A smear of blood on my palm. She notices. "John," she says softly, "you're bleeding." Her voice quivers with genuine concern. or something that sounds like it. I glance down, then lift my gaze to hers. I still don't say anything. She tries to come closer, raising a hand to cradle mine, but I pull away. An hour later, after I've washed the cut and wrapped it in a small bandage, I'm sitting in the backyard. The moon hangs low, heavy in the sky. I can't sleep. There's a chill in the air, or maybe it's just the hollowness inside me. I used to think love was the greatest fortress, something that could withstand time, adversity, all of it. Now I realize fortresses crumble from within if the foundation rots. And betrayal is the worst form of decay. She comes to the back door. I hear it slide open. "You okay?" she asks. I stare at the faint glow of the security light flickering against the fence. "Fine," I say. Then a pause. My voice is tight. Just needed some air. "Let me bring you a jacket," she offers, stepping outside. She's in her robe, hair slightly tousled. She looks so normal, so intimately familiar. But to me, it's like seeing a stranger for the first time. She approaches, drapes the jacket around my shoulders. I let her do it, still unable to form the words, the accusations that churn in my mind. She lingers a moment. "Is something on your mind?" It's a question loaded with meaning. I swallow. "Yes, but I'm not sure how to talk about it right now." A slow exhale from her side. I can practically feel her searching for clues, scanning my face for hints. But I've grown good at hiding. Or maybe I've become so dull in expressing anything that it's easy to mistake my silence for normality. Time ticks. The air is cold, and she shivers. "I'll be inside," she says, eventually. "Come to bed soon." She reaches out to touch my arm, but I don't respond. The hurt in her eyes is evident, though I don't know if it's for me or for herself. She withdraws and goes inside. I think about the next steps, about how I don't want her to see the darkness swirling within me yet. I remember something a friend said to me years ago. Sometimes the best revenge is delivered with absolute calm. That phrase echoes in my head like a drumbeat. I wonder if that's the path I'm headed down. Because I feel the urge to burn everything. Metaphorically. Literally, I'm not sure yet. But this marriage is dying, and I don't intend to hold a funeral with flowers and tears. Eventually, I go in. The house is quiet, lights dimmed. She's already in bed, breathing slowly, maybe asleep or maybe pretending. I slip into the spare room. My presence is a ghost's. No words, no confrontation. Just silence. I wonder if she realizes how deep the pain goes. How destructive it can be when a man's pride and trust are both shattered at once. Morning comes, and I wake up with a dull ache behind my eyes. The bandage on my palm is stained with a faint rust-colored blotch. I head to the kitchen, ignoring the pang in my chest when I see her at the counter. She's making coffee, wearing her usual morning sweater. The smell of brewing coffee normally soothes me, but today it feels like a cruel joke. She glances at me, attempts a quick smile. I nod, stepping past her for a mug. I keep my distance. The entire house feels suffocating. For the next several days, I operate on autopilot. I go to work. I handle emails, design briefs, phone calls with clients. Occasionally, a coworker asks, "Everything all right, John?" I muster a tight grin and say, "Just tired." That's always the excuse, but inside, I'm calculating, plotting. I recall the album, the painting, the addresses, the cryptic numbers. I know I need more proof. Something undeniable. My father used to say, confrontation without evidence is just shouting at the wind. And I refuse to be the fool who shouts. So I start making small changes around the house. First, it's the laundry detergent. I toss out the floral brand Maria likes, replace it with something so neutral it smells like scorched paper. I do the same with the hand soap in the bathroom, the dish soap, even the air fresheners. I pick out bizarre, dusty scents that linger with an ashy note. She notices, of course. She frowns one evening, sniffing the air as she steps out of the shower. "What's that smell?" she asks me, wrinkling her nose. I shrug. "Just new products. Thought we could try a different line." She looks at me like I'm speaking a foreign language. "Why? We were fine with the old ones." I set my jaw. Time for a change. Then I walk away. No explanation, no argument. I see confusion creeping into her features. A part of me relishes that. I want her unsettled. I want the very air she breathes to carry a hint of foreboding, of silent doom, because that's what festers inside me. When trust erodes, the atmosphere becomes toxic. Another day passes, and I sense her suspicion growing. She tries to ask more questions. I deflect them all with half-answers. My silence becomes a wedge, driving us further apart. I look at her sometimes and wonder if she's thinking of him. Maybe she's texting him on her phone, making plans. It's insane how quickly jealousy and suspicion can occupy every corner of my mind. But it's there, and I can't help it. Soon, an opportunity arises. She has a gym membership at a fancy place downtown, where Alec, her personal trainer, works. I realize it must be him. The puzzle pieces fit. The man in the photos, the addresses, the scenario. I recall the images of them from that old album. His arm around her. In the painting, she captured the shape of that gym door, albeit abstractly, then etched the date of the session. Once I see it, I can't unsee it. The code is right there, mocking me. And from that moment on, I decide. I need to catch them in the act. It's not paranoia if it's real. I tell her I'm thinking of starting a fitness regime. She's surprised, but tries to play along. "That's great, John. You should come to the gym with me." Her tone is hesitant, maybe a bit anxious. She probably fears the collision of her two worlds, me and him, on shared turf. But I pretend I'm all in. I visit the gym, check out the place. Alec is there, tall, confident, wearing a trainer's uniform. His eyes flick to mine. He greets me with a professional courtesy, smiling. That same grin I saw in the photo, pressed against her cheek. Every fiber in me wants to break him in half. Instead, I remain cordial. I sign up for a trial membership, and for the next few weeks, I decide I'm too busy to come. But what I really do is pay a discreet visit after hours, bribing a night guard to let me in under the pretense of retrieving my forgotten phone. Under the fluorescent hum of the empty corridor, I install a small camera near the free weights area, some discreet spot overshadowed by a large supply locker. It's not my usual style. But I feel no guilt. I want the truth, cold and irrefutable. So I place the device, checking the angle, ensuring it captures a broad sweep of the training area. Once done, I leave, a knot twisting in my stomach, because now it's only a matter of time. Time. The ultimate betrayer. It creeps forward, unstoppable. I wait for the moment they schedule a late workout. She thinks I'm at the office for a deadline. In reality, I'm parked a few blocks away, lurking. My phone connects to a live feed from the hidden camera. The resolution is grainy but sufficient. For the first hour, she's alone, doing stretches or some cardio. Alec appears, corrects her posture, lightly touches her waist. My teeth clench. Then the gym empties out as closing approaches. One or two stragglers remain, finishing their sets. The front desk eventually goes home. And that's when it happens. I see them on my phone screen. She's standing close. He's behind her, arms around her midsection, guiding her movement, far too intimately. She turns, and in that moment, the tension becomes visible. Without hesitation, he leans in, kisses her. Her arms go around his neck. It's not a tentative kiss. It's urgent, a passionate exchange. Then they move deeper into a more secluded corner, near the storage room. My heart pounds as I watch them, anger swirling with a nauseating sense of devastation. I can't see every detail from the camera angle. But I see enough. Her hair tumbles forward as he kisses her neck, lifts her slightly. Their bodies press together, shifting with blatant hunger. It's not the first time, I realize. They know each other's rhythms too well. They're lost in it. I feel a sickness roll through me. My chest tightens, my breath coming in ragged gulps. I can't watch for more than a minute, but that minute is enough to confirm everything. My wife is in his arms, moaning softly, her face showing an ecstasy she hasn't shown me in ages. I turn off the feed. The foam nearly slips from my sweaty palm. Outside, night has cloaked the city. Streetlights flicker. A passing car's headlights illuminate my knuckles, clenched around the steering wheel. I pound it with my fist, once, but I don't scream. I grit my teeth, swallowing the fury. My father's voice again. Don't explode. Wait. I spend the next hours in the car, not even sure where to go. Finally, I pull into a deserted parking lot near the pier. I stare at the water. The stench of salt and fish hits me, but I barely notice. My mind replays that scene on loop. I realize I've been wringing my hands to the point where the bandage from my earlier cut is soaked through. Time. It grinds me down, second by second. I can almost hear it taunting me. By the time I get home, it's close to midnight. She's not back yet. Typical. She probably told me she'd be late at the gym, and I pretended to believe it. I go inside, flick on a table lamp, and look around. This place no longer feels like home. It's a stage for secrets, for betrayal. Anger wells up again, but I keep it inside, thinking of the plan forming in my head. She comes in half an hour later, sweaty, hair damp. She greets me quietly. Didn't expect you up. I glance at her. Couldn't sleep. My voice is flat. She says nothing, perhaps noticing something in my eyes. She heads to the shower. Another wave of tension throbs in my temples. I think about confronting her right then. But I remind myself, soon, very soon. The next day, I call my friends. I invite them over for a get-together next weekend. I also reach out to some family members, including her relatives, saying I have a surprise presentation I'd like everyone to see. They're intrigued but unsuspecting. Maria hears about it, obviously. What are you planning? She asks, an uneasy laugh in her tone. I offer a non-committal shrug. Just something about your art, something we can all enjoy. There's a deeper meaning I want to show everyone. Her face pales. She looks at me as though I just told her I'd read her diary. Why do you want them to see my paintings? She asks. I meet her gaze with cool composure. Because they deserve to know how talented you are, I say, layering my voice with a careful neutrality. Inside, I'm brimming with silent rage. She bites her lip, clearly uneasy. But she doesn't argue. Maybe she's afraid to push me, suspecting something is off. Over the next days, I gather everything. The photos, the recordings, the codes embedded in her paintings. I prepare a small projector that can hook up to my laptop. I arrange the images and clips in a neat sequence. My intention is not just to expose the affair, but to dismantle the facade. This is my revenge, orchestrated methodically. A tiny corner of my conscience nags. Is this too cruel? But I silenced that thought. She had no mercy for me when she went behind my back. Why should I spare her dignity? The morning of the gathering arrives. I wake up early, stepping into the living room to set everything up. Chairs are moved to create an impromptu viewing area. The projector stands near the window. I've pinned up a few of her latest artworks for display. She tiptoes in, eyes flicking from the arrangement to me. John, are you sure about this? Yes, I reply simply. I sense her tension like a taut wire. It fuels me. I think of how time is both fast and slow. A week ago, I was a broken man, helpless, numb. Now I'm resolute, determined, and I feel that swirl of adrenaline that comes with an imminent confrontation. Friends and family trickle in that afternoon. Neighbors, too. Laughter in the hallway. Greetings, warm handshakes. They're unsuspecting. Most people admire the paintings, compliment Maria. She stands there, forcing smiles, her posture rigid. I notice how she avoids my eyes. She tries to act normal, but I see her fidgeting with her ring, sliding it around her finger like it's suddenly too tight. I greet everyone, ensuring they find seats. Someone asks, "So what is this all about, John?" Another neighbor chuckles. "Didn't know you had an artistic side." I let them talk, stir with curiosity. Meanwhile, Maria sits on the couch, pale, tapping her foot. Even the air in the room feels on edge. When the last person arrives, I close the door and walk to the makeshift screen. I clear my throat. "Thank you all for coming. I asked you here because there's something remarkable about these paintings, something hidden." I click a small remote. The projector hums to life, casting an image of one of Maria's canvases onto the wall. At first glance, it's just shapes and colors, but if you look carefully, I zoom in on a section. Dates, addresses, numbers. It's a code, and it ties back to certain events. The guests murmur in confusion. I step to the side, bringing up a photograph from that dusty album. It shows Maria wearing the same dress from the painting, but she's in the arms of a man who's not me. In front of some unfamiliar doors. She's younger, but it's undeniably her. A hush spreads through the crowd. Maria stands abruptly. "John, what the hell are you doing?" I ignore her outburst, forging on calmly. "See the date in the corner? It matches the painting's hidden date. The place, that door behind them, was an old club in downtown Chicago." I bring up more images, layering them with each painting. The room's tension climbs. Some people exchange worried glances. Maria's mother stands, eyes flicking between me and her daughter. "Is this some kind of joke?" she asks, voice tight. I continue, unwavering. "I've made mistakes in my marriage. I'm not perfect. I lied sometimes, I had my flaws. But I never dishonored my vows like this." Then I flick to the next part of my presentation, a short video clip from the gym. I've edited it for clarity, cutting out the more explicit content, but it's still unmistakable. The moment they see Maria in another man's arms, kissing him passionately, the entire room goes silent. Her father exhales sharply, a pained expression crossing his face. A neighbor covers her mouth in shock. Maria tries to rush forward, maybe to stop the video, but I raise a hand, and the tension in my posture is enough to freeze everyone. The footage plays a few seconds longer, leaving no doubt about what's happening. I let the screen go dark. Everyone sits in stunned silence. Maria's eyes are red, tears welling. She looks at me, trembling. "Why are you doing this? You could have just talked to me. We could have talked." My voice is low, almost a growl. "Would you have told me about him? Would you have admitted you'd been lying for months, or longer?" I meet her gaze. Emotions coil in my chest, raw and suffocating. I'm done talking. An older friend of ours, David, stands and moves to speak, but I hold his gaze for a moment, letting him see that I won't be interrupted. He sits back down, grim-faced. I take a breath, my voice quiet enough that they lean in to hear. "You all saw it. This is who she is now. Maybe I'm partly to blame for letting the marriage become so hollow, for not giving her what she needed. But she chose this. She made a mockery of everything we built." My words feel heavy in my mouth, each one a shard of glass. Maria looks shattered, silent tears streaking her cheeks. Someone else speaks up, some confused relative on her side. "John, please, can't you settle this privately?" I give a short, bitter laugh. "Privately?" She painted it in her art. She carried on with him in the open, if you knew where to look. This was never private. It's been happening right under our noses. Maria sobs, tries to say something, but all that comes out is a choked whisper of my name. I can't bear to hear it. "I'm not kicking you out," I say to her, my voice echoing in the hush. "This is still your house. I just want everyone to see the truth before I go." With that, I walk to our bedroom. The crowd in the living room stirs with uneasy murmurs, unsure if they should follow me or give us space. Some attempt to console Maria, who's sunk onto the couch, face in her hands. But I'm beyond all that. Inside the bedroom, I yank open the closet, pull her clothes off the hangers, throw them onto the bed. My heart thunders as I empty the drawers of her belongings. Then I grab a duffel bag and start packing my things, methodical, mechanical. I can hear muffled voices from outside the door, but I don't stop. When I step out, bag in hand, the onlookers part like the Red Sea. Maria lifts her tear-stained face to mine. She tries to speak, but all that emerges is a whisper, "John." I don't let her finish. I don't want an apology. I don't want excuses or pleas. I want the silence of finality. I brush past her. At the front door, I turn to the room filled with people, uncertain how to respond or where to look. "I'll be in touch," I say to no one in particular. Then I add, "Don't worry about me. I'm clean now, and I'm leaving." My gaze lands on Maria. "Keep the house. Keep everything. I just don't want you to think you can fix this, because you can't." With that, I walk out. I take the keys from my pocket, house keys, and set them on the entryway table. It's symbolic, my final statement. The last chain of possession severed. The door closes behind me, muffling the frantic voices that rise inside. Outside, the air is cold. I stand for a moment on the porch, feeling the ache in my hand. The bandage is peeling, stained with fresh spots of red. My nails are digging in again. I release them, letting the tension dissipate. I taste the night wind, empty and bitter. It's done. The time I spent waiting, the time I let trust erode. There's nothing left to salvage. A wave of exhaustion hits me, yet beneath it all, there's a strange sense of relief. I exposed the lie for everyone to see. I didn't weep, didn't break down. A part of me always believed a man shouldn't cry, even when his heart is being ripped apart. That's how I was raised. Now, ironically, I wish I could. But the tears won't come. The wound is too deep, my pride too stubborn. I step off the porch into the quiet street. My car is parked a few houses down. The soft glow of streetlights casts long shadows. As I walk, I recall the first moment I knew something was wrong, when I noticed the brushstrokes in that painting. A single passing glance at her art. Funny how time can shift so quickly from normalcy to devastation. It creeps in, swallowing years of trust in one swift gulp. Time. The invisible enemy that rots relationships from within if you aren't vigilant. But I survived. And in that survival, a bitter sense of victory stirs. I know what I saw, and I acted. I made her face it in front of everyone. No more illusions. She can't pretend now. She can't paint over the truth with fancy colors or seductive brushstrokes. Maybe it's cruel, but it's fair in a twisted way. I slip into my car, set my duffel bag on the passenger seat. My breath is unsteady. The steering wheel feels cold under my fingers. I look at the house one last time. Through the window, I see people milling around, silhouettes in anxious motion. She might be crying. She might be cursing me for humiliating her. She might be collapsing under the weight of her guilt. I don't know, and I can't say I care at this moment. I turn the ignition. The engine rumbles to life, the headlights cutting through the darkness. Without a backward glance, I drive away. The first few blocks are a blur. My thoughts swirl with images of her, of him, of the day I first said, "I do," and how that vow now tastes like ash. I pull into a convenience store parking lot to catch my breath. My reflection in the rearview mirror looks haggard, older. It's as though the last few days aged me by years. My eyes are sunken, my jaw tense. I spot the bandage again. Slowly, I unwrap it, wincing at the raw cut beneath. There's dried blood along the edges. I flex my fingers, ignoring the sting. The physical pain is a whisper compared to what's howling inside my chest. Then I laugh, a strangled, humorless sound. Is this what it takes to be free? I murmur to no one. Maybe it is. Maybe you need a break so cataclysmic that there's no going back, a slash across your life that severs all ties. I toss the bandage aside, reach for a tissue to press against the wound. I think about calling a friend, but the idea of talking to someone right now makes my head pound. I'd rather be alone in the emptiness. Silence has become my companion. Eventually, I start driving again, winding through the city streets aimlessly. Neon signs glow overhead, clubs and bars thrumming with nightlife. A part of me wonders if I should go in, lose myself in a bottle for the night. But I've never been that kind of man. I prefer clarity, even if it hurts. I want to feel every shard of this heartbreak, the full measure of it, because feeling it is the only way I know it's real. Time. It moves me forward, carrying me away from the wreckage I left behind. My phone buzzes. I glance at it, see multiple missed calls from unknown numbers, probably friends or family who were at the house. I ignore them. Not yet. I'm not ready to explain or defend what I did. I know some will judge me for humiliating her in public. Others might applaud my honesty. In the end, it doesn't matter. I did what I had to do. The hours slip by, and I find a motel on the outskirts of town. A tired neon sign flickers by the roadside. I pay for a room in cash, grateful for anonymity. The place is dingy, the walls peeling, but it's quiet. I drop my bag on the worn-out armchair and head into the bathroom to wash my face. Under the harsh fluorescent light, I see the lines on my forehead, the stubble on my chin, the exhaustion in my eyes. I think about the days to come. My life is now in flux. No wife, no marriage, just me, my job, maybe some clothes I can salvage. I wonder if she'll stay in that house, haunted by the memories, or if she'll leave. It's no longer my problem. I collapse onto the bed, fully clothed. The old springs creak. Staring at the ceiling, I remember how I used to believe that time could heal anything. Now I realize time also kills what we hold dear if we neglect it. My marriage died from 1,000 small wounds, culminating in a final brutal betrayal. My anger is still there, a roiling pit. But beneath it, I sense a hollow acceptance creeping in. I picture Maria's face, contorted with shock and heartbreak, as she watched the video. Does she hate me now for exposing her? Did she ever really love me, or was I just another phase of her life's painting, to be repainted when she grew bored? Then I recall the emptiness I felt during the last months, her distant glances, her cryptic late nights. Maybe we both let it happen, but she's the one who crossed that line. I force my eyes shut. Sleep hovers, elusive. My mind flickers with memories. The early days when we were happy, the bubble of laughter in our first tiny apartment, the warmth of her body beside mine. Slowly, these images dissolve into a swirl of neon lights, half-truths, and the aftertaste of red wine. I drift off, dreamless, or if I dream, I don't remember. Morning comes, pale sunlight sneaking through the threadbare curtains. My back aches from the lumpy mattress. I take a quick shower, the tepid water doing little to revive me. In the mirror, I see that the cut on my palm is crusted over now, forming a scab. The ring finger on that hand feels naked without the wedding band. I took it off 2 nights ago and tossed it in a drawer. I wonder if I'll ever wear another band. Probably not. I check my phone. More missed calls. A couple of texts from close friends, reading something like, "John, call me, man. Let's talk." Another from an unknown number. "I hope you're okay." That was intense. "Please, we're worried." I power off my phone. There's a comfort in the quiet. The entire day stretches before me, empty. No obligations, no illusions, just me. I think about heading to the office, but I can't face it. Not yet. Instead, I drive out to the coast, to that rocky shoreline west of the city. The ocean always grounded me, gave me perspective. When I park by the cliffs, the wind buffets me as I step out. The smell of salt hits my nostrils, the crash of waves below a thunderous lullaby. I walk to the edge, careful but unafraid, staring at the vast expanse of water. I let the wind whip my hair. A gull screeches overhead. The moment is oddly serene. I recall a time when Maria and I came here for a weekend trip. We walked along the beach, hand in hand, barefoot in the wet sand. She laughed at how cold the Pacific was, clinging to me for warmth. That memory tastes like heartbreak now. Yet I stand on the same cliffs, and she's nowhere near me. Life shifts so rapidly. Time devours illusions, leaving behind these haunting echoes. There's a part of me that wants to rage, scream at the open sky, but I do nothing. I learned to bury my pain in silence. A man doesn't cry, a man endures. Right or wrong, that's how I was taught. But inside, the tears flow in a silent torrent. I wish I could kneel down and sob. Yet, I remain rigid, my jaw set. By late afternoon, I head back to the motel. Pick up some takeout from a drive-thru along the way. The food tastes like cardboard. Everything is bland now. My appetite is mechanical. I end up pushing half the meal aside, unsettled by a swirl of guilt, anger, and relief. Yes, relief, because as horrible as this is, I'm free from the web of lies. No more sneaking around, no more wondering. There's only one line between me and her, and it's severed. I flick the TV on, flipping mindlessly through channels. The news drones about economic issues, sports recaps. Everything feels distant. Eventually, I settle on a channel showing old reruns of some detective drama. The irony of infidelity in TV plots makes me scoff. I turn it off again. I can't distract myself with other people's stories. Mine is too fresh, too raw. Night falls. I sit in the dark, the cheap lamp casting an anemic glow. My phone lies face down on the nightstand. I can almost sense it buzzing with the world's attempts to reach me. But I can't handle them now. Let them wait. I think about my next move, whether I'll find an apartment, talk to a lawyer about dividing assets. The house is legally in both our names. Maybe I'll let her keep it, as I said, or maybe I'll force a sale. That's a tomorrow problem. At some point, I drift into sleep again, haunted by half-formed dreams. I see her face, then it morphs into that of the lover, Alec, with his smirk. The painting swirls behind them, dripping red wine across the canvas. I jolt awake, heart pounding. The clock reads 3:12 a.m. I rub my eyes, the memory of that last day flooding back, unstoppable. The hush of the crowd as the video played, her desperate expression when she realized her secret was out. I wonder if I truly got what I wanted. Did humiliating her solve anything, or did it just unleash more bitterness? Then I recall her lies, the late-night sessions at the gym, the code in her paintings. Rage flickers anew. Yes, I stand by my decision. She wanted drama, wanted thrill. She got it. In front of everyone. Dawn creeps in, and I hear birds outside. I wash my face, dress in yesterday's clothes, deciding that maybe it's time to see if there's a rental near my workplace. I gather my meager belongings. Before leaving, I power on my phone. A barrage of messages floods in. I skim them. Mostly worry, condemnation, or confusion from friends. A couple from Maria. The first one. I'm sorry, John. Please talk to me. The second. I know I messed up. Let's figure something out. The third is shorter, seemingly bitter. Fine. Have it your way. You've made your point. I stare at that last text, feeling a dull pang. No tears come, no urge to respond. I slip the phone into my pocket and walk out of the motel room. The wind greets me with a bracing chill, an apt reflection of my mood. I slide into my car, start the engine, and pull onto the road. The city is waking up. Traffic lights blink from red to green. Shops open their doors. Life goes on, indifferent to a man's heartbreak. And so I drive, not knowing exactly where I'm headed, but knowing that anywhere is better than living in a lie. The memory of her betrayal spurs me forward. My clenched hand aches, the scab on my palm pulling at the skin. I press it against the steering wheel, leaning into the discomfort. Pain, at least, is honest. Maybe the only honest thing left. Time might heal me eventually, or it might just keep mocking me. Either way, I'm done waiting passively. I'm done letting illusions shape my life. Somewhere down the road, I see a for rent sign in front of a modest apartment complex. I pull over, step out, and look up at the plain facade. It's not much, but it's a fresh start. A blank canvas with no hidden codes, no suffocating ghosts. I nod to myself, resolute. I'll take it if the terms are reasonable. After that, maybe I'll get rid of the rest of my stuff. Whatever reminders of my old life remain. I'll keep my sanity, my dignity, and a chance to rebuild. As for Maria, she can keep the house, the paintings, the memory of that humiliating day. Maybe she'll learn something from it. Or maybe not. I press my wounded hand against the sign, smearing a small streak of dried blood on the glossy surface. The building manager steps out, eyeing me with curiosity. I muster a polite smile. "I'm here about the apartment," I say. My voice is calm, steady, like a man who's lost everything yet discovered a sliver of resolve in the wreckage. And that's exactly what I am. When I finally step inside that vacant unit with its stark white walls, I realize it's the first place in a while that feels like it could belong to me, and me alone. No hidden betrayals lurking, no whiff of someone else's memory. The manager prattles on about monthly rent, utilities, lease terms. I nod, mind half absent, but I know I'll sign the papers. This is where I begin again. My heart is bruised, my pride wounded, but I'm still standing, still capable of forging a path that doesn't involve lies. Later that afternoon, I find a hardware store and buy a replacement lock for the unit, along with a few basics, a lamp, a cheap table, a futon to crash on. I haul them up the stairs, ignoring the throbbing in my hand. Once the door is locked behind me, I collapse on the futon, breathing heavily. A single window looks out onto a busy street. People pass by, living their own lives. I feel strangely invisible, unknown, free. I consider calling a friend, letting them know where I am, but I'm not ready for pity or sympathy. Maybe tomorrow. For now, I let silence envelop me. My mind wanders to the events of the past days. The camera, the images, the final confrontation in front of everyone. It all feels surreal, like a scene from a raw, brutal film. Yet it happened. I orchestrated it. I let out a long, trembling breath. The weight on my chest is still there, but it's lighter somehow. She can't hide behind sweet words or illusions anymore. And I can't pretend that time will fix what's irreparably broken. Sometimes, you have to tear open the wound to let the poison drain out. It's ugly, but it's real. If that means standing alone in a bare apartment, so be it. As evening settles, I sit with the single lamp illuminating my new emptiness. My phone rests on the floor beside the futon. Maybe Maria will text again, or maybe not. It doesn't change what happened. I close my eyes, and for the first time since I discovered the truth, I feel something like acceptance. The pain remains, an ache I'll carry with me for a long while. But I also feel the faint pulse of possibility. A man can survive betrayal. A man can choose not to cry, even if his soul feels like it's unraveling. A man can walk away. Time is still an enemy. It always has been. But in some ways, it's also an ally now. Because every second that passes is another step away from that poisonous moment I saw on the screen. Every breath is one more that she can't contaminate with her lies. And maybe, just maybe, with enough time, I'll find a reason to unclench my fists, let the scab on my palm heal, and discover that life goes on, even after betrayal. That's what I tell myself, anyway. The future remains uncertain, but at least I'm no longer trapped in a house of deceit. I switch off the lamp, letting darkness fill the room. My heartbeat echoes in my ears. Slowly, I lie back, gaze unfocused. Maybe I'll sleep well tonight, unburdened by illusions, or maybe I won't. But whatever the night brings, it can't be worse than the truth I've already faced. So I close my eyes, exhale, and let the darkness cradle me in its silent hush. No tears, no words, just the raw, unspoken vow that I'll keep moving forward, one painful, defiant step at a time.